There appears to be no end in sight to the sporadic pro-democracy protests in eSwatini. In fact, in the latest series of events, some students could be seen visiting various institutions, university institutions that is, to burn portraits of King Mswati III that are displayed in those universities. In fact, the leader of the National Student Union has now been detained on charges of sedition and malicious damage to property after destroying paintings at the University of eSwatini. Shortly after his arrest, more demonstrations broke out in several parts of the country, leaving a number of people injured. For more on the situation on the ground, let's bring in our guest. Colani Maseko is the president of the Swaziland National Union of Students, who joins us via our telephone line. In fact, he was released on Friday by the head of international relations at the People's Democratic Movement. I beg your pardon. He was released on Friday. However, also joining us is the head of international relations at the People's United Democratic Movement. That's Siboniso Mkhabela. To both our guests, thanks very much indeed for your time. It's great to have you on the program. Let me begin, Colani, with you by just assessing how you are doing in a context where you've just recently been released. Get us the circumstances surrounding your detention to begin with.
No, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity and for giving us this platform. At least we know for now that we are going to speak in a democratic channel with no one threatening us. So I'm very excited to be outside in Swati's prison. You know, the situation inside prison, it is more than any man can bear. So I love to say heartfelt thanks to the students for taking their time and commit themselves to the cause with the attributes of determination, discipline, and sacrifice so that I can be released by the regime.
Yeah. Tell us a bit more about what led to your arrest, Colani, if you can.
So on Friday morning, in the morning, I was on my way to school. I'm a final year student at Southern African Nazarene University, SANU. While I was on my way, I think I was 5 minutes away from campus, I was grabbed by more than 40 police officers, and I was pushed on the back of a police van. They drove me around the country from morning at around 8 p.m. until 4 p.m. when they brought me to the magistrate court in Manzini without being given an opportunity to be represented by my attorney. I was kept for interrogation that included threats, insults. Sometimes I was manhandled during the interrogation. I was even restricted to food or to anything that I can drink. So it was a terrible situation. But I knew that I did nothing because I was charged with sedition, and the last two charges was that I destroyed the portrait of Mswati and his mother, including the illegitimate Prime Minister Cleopas Dlamini. I was charged as well with malicious damaging the campus padlocks and the campus gate. So I knew that those charges are not genuine. That just trumped up charges trying to silence me, because I've been very vocal and I've been clear that as the Swaziland National Union of Students and the young people of Swaziland at large, we have made it clear that our challenges will be better addressed in a democratic government. So they try everything within their power to try and dissolve or challenge any dissenting voices within the Kingdom of Swaziland.
Yeah. Siboniso, let me bring you into the discussion. Of course, we've been watching with a keen interest as the protests or the movements in eSwatini continue to evolve. We now understand, as I've pointed out, that tertiary institutions or tertiary university students are now getting involved. Help us understand at which stage the protests are and how they got to, I guess, being at universities, for lack of a better term.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ayanda. Firstly, I would love to greet the viewers at home. Ayanda, maybe to bring you to the relevant point, or rather situation of events, it is said that those who fail to learn from history are usually forced to repeat it. And that seems to be the case for our king, who is not able to learn from his friends who were detectors, and they ended up succumbing to the pressure of the people. As you have asked that, how did it get to the students? This is not a movement that concerns adults. It started with the youth in May when one of their own was killed by Mswati's police. In fact, the spark that ignited this revolution was through the death of one student from the University of Swaziland. So it is, the struggle is a part and parcel of all movements, including the youth and the students.
The real concern, of course, now is that people are being targeted, Siboniso, and Colani is one of those people. I imagine there'll be many others if the protest movement itself continues with the current momentum. How is the movement, if at all, able to protect individuals from having targets on their back? Siboniso?
I lost you there. Can you just briefly...
Yeah, I was just trying to highlight the fact that what comes with what is currently taking place is that certain people are being targeted. We've already spoken to one individual in that situation. And so the question becomes, in what ways can the movement protect individuals who may very well have targets on their back?
There's no way to say we'll protect ourselves at this time. We are used to the loud sounds of the guns, Ayanda. We are now used to the silence of the dead. Ours is not mainly to protect ourselves as leaders, but is to bring freedom to our people as they want it.
Sobering resolve there. Thanks very much indeed for the snapshot, really, of the situation as it stands in eSwatini. It's a story we've been watching for a while and will continue to do so. For now, Siboniso Mkhabela, who's with the People's United Democratic Movement, as well as Colani Maseko, who's the president of the Swaziland National Union of Students, to both our guests. Thanks very much indeed.